Here we are. We're about to go live on YouTube, I think. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome. What's going on here? Hey, guys. Let's just see. Welcome to the first EdibleSpirit New Moon live stream, celebrating the new moon today. Waiting for the YouTube to go live. I'm trying to make it happen faster. Let's see. Here we go. Let's make it, yeah, we're just waiting for it to start. Well, I'm glad you all are here. I hope you stick with me for however long we're here. And send questions or comments or anything that you want me to cover or talk about while this is going on, so that you know we are planning on streaming live on new moons and full moons to just talk a little bit about the astrology of the moment. I think we're going to do a reading today. I have some cards. If this goes well, I'll probably have people be able to call in and ask questions, like I do when I sometimes stream with John Hill. But for now, everything's going to end up being through the comments. So let's just see. Like I said, we're waiting for this to go live. And let's see. Well, we'll see. Hey you, hi Dee Dee. So, hi guys. Okay, so stay with me. We're just waiting. I think my computer 69 seconds away from being live upon the YouTube and whatnot. We'll see what happens here. But yeah, I've got the very cool cards. I've got the Voyager deck. And that's my intention, is to talk a little bit about the new moon, and then talk a little bit about the, equinox, a little bit about the Mercury retrograde that's coming up, and then we'll see what else we can do. We'll pull some cards for the elements. Hey, y'all. Oh, and for you guys, while I have you here, on the 20th at 9 a.m., we're going to be doing a spring equinox live stream at 9 a.m. where we're going to do a ritual. And if you want, you can go to EdibleSpirit.com and click on the blog, and you'll find all the info about what you need to do in order to participate in that. Okay. Now this is definitely my problem. Sorry, kitties. Just give me one more second. Okay, well, while you guys are here, write me in any questions that you might have about this moment, right? We're talking about what's going on with you. Have you been feeling super emotional? Has it been very intense? Has the season of Pisces been banging your brain? Ay, ay, ay. Let's see. Oh, okay, wait. Maybe this is what's gonna happen. Photo. Heyo. Start this business. Okay, well, chances are we're gonna just switch over here and stay with you guys. Yep. Unfortunately, my insane YouTube is not working. youtube.com/webcam. Yeah, my YouTube isn't working. So I was hoping on streaming this for y'all. Yeah, totally not working. So we're just gonna stay right here. So welcome. This is our wonderful, wonderful new moon moment. New moon, sun conjunct moon in Pisces, also conjunct Chiron. All of those planets are hanging out together as of yesterday, 6 a.m. Oh, wait. Is it today? Yeah, it's today. This morning, 6 a.m. Super cool moment because we've got this great opportunity to allow the inflow of emotions that have been occurring and just that feeling of overwhelmment or that feeling of kind of swimming, that kind of hallucinatory feeling that's been in the air, or the urge to do things that maybe you wouldn't normally do. We're trying to let those things overflow us right now, or they are overflowing us whether we want them to be or not. And this is all in hopes of kind of taking us beyond ourselves. But when we come to this moment of the new moon, sun conjunct moon conjunct Chiron, right? All of this overflow is happening for a reason. It's happening for the sake of healing. It's happening because in order for our systems to continue functioning smoothly, they need to deal with some shit and likely deal with some emotional shit. So the overwhelmment is presenting us the opportunity today to set up an intention, just a gentle, loving intention to cultivate balance, in terms of how we're dealing with our shit, right? So we really got to deal with our shit. We've really got to deal with our shit. It's just, we can't be too yin about it. We can't be too yang about it. We can't be too mental about it. We can't be too foofy, ethereal about it. We want to be approaching things in a balanced way. Why? Because it's time. And the new moon is in Pisces. So crazy shit can happen as this next, 2 weeks go until we get to the full moon. But even more importantly, we lock into Aries season come Tuesday. And once we get into Aries season, it's when the sun moves into Aries. That feels wonderful. And it is, it's fire season. So we've got all this water kind of drowning us. And then we get to move into fire season when the sun is in the sign of cardinal fire, the first day of spring equinox, which has kind of the opposite effect of Pisces. Pisces is like, all of these images, all of these memories, all of these feelings, all this stuff kind of coming back to me. But what's really cool is that the Aries comes in and it's almost like forward motion so hard that you don't really have time to think or feel or do much of anything with whatever's been, going on around you. So, and then the fact that we have sun conjunct moon in Pisces, sun conjunct moon conjunct Chiron in Pisces, it's like setting us up for an opportunity to do some healing with all of this emotional material that sets us up for a springtime in which, we have a lot of forward motion, a lot of forward momentum, and things just seem to be going not swimmingly, but things just chug along, right, in the right way, in the hottest way, right? So, woo! Okay. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about, does that make sense to you guys? Those of you that are here, does that make sense what I'm saying? Right? Have you been feeling this way? Anything? Y'all? Yes, yes. Okay, great. So let's see. Do you all know, good. Do you all know what your primary element is? If you've been watching Elements of Spirit, do you know if you're earth, air, water, fire? That's connected with your sun sign. I can tell you for the record, earth is, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, air, Libra, fire, great. Libra, fire, Libra, air is Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. Fire is Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries, and water is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, right? Okay, good, good, good. Great. What a nice balance of all y'all. Okay, download and set up your encoder using the stream. And basically, I'm going to pull some cards just to give a little forecast of what the next couple of weeks is going to be like for you all. And if you haven't been watching, I think a lot of you who are watching now watch my weekly readings. So if you those come out every week and they're to help you work with these elements, this is going to be little like 2-week element vibes to give you something to work with. So we've got earth, air, and fire. I'm the one holding down water. So let's just see what is the well, we'll do 2 cards. We'll say what's the best way to harness the energy of this moment, and then what can be expected, okay? So we're going to start with air. We're going to say what's the best way to harness the energy of this moment for you. Okay, it's the star reversed. It says you are where you need to be. What's going on is what needs to be going on, but don't get too comfortable here, right? So don't get too comfortable. Yeah, don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of shaking things up. Don't be afraid of brazenly kind of moving through all of the stuff that might be overwhelming you at this time, so that you can go careening into the springtime. So right now it's like, don't resist that itchy feeling. The itchy feeling that you have is there to tell you what's ready to be worked with, okay? And what to expect. Okay, cool. So what this says is it's the nine of crystals in this deck. It's called Narrowness is the card, and it says that you're going to have a sort of clarification, concentration, narrowing of your pathway, which a lot of times is very it's not the best thing. It's like a little negative. It can imply some restriction, but in your case, it's like if you don't get too comfortable, if you allow yourself to follow where the agitation is taking you into a place of working with it and dealing with it, then you will actually find things become simplified as opposed to minimized, right? Simplified. That feels really good. Okay. In terms of, so things are going to get easier, a little easier to handle. This discomfort is temporary, but the idea is to push through it. Don't get too comfortable with the discomfort. Use it as momentum. Okay, use it as fuel. Moving on to fire, what's the best way to work with this energy? Okay, we've got the Sage of Worlds. It's the Master card, and what is there to be expected? Cool, the Four of Worlds. So what this implies that you're better off working with what you understand and what you can recognize and can deal. Take stock of this moment and do whatever practical work you can to find not even balance, not even peace, just busyness, just feeling like you're doing, like you're working with the resources that you actually have. Because working with the resources that you actually have ends up not necessarily creating momentum, but creating a foundation which allows your work to kind of unfold. So again, this is for fire. This is for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, bros and sisses. You want to be focusing in the next 2 weeks, or at least right now, to harness the energy of this new moon on practical tasks, things that are in front of you, stuff that you can touch with your hands, also using the gifts that you know you can rely on to find greater mastery of those gifts, to find refinement of those gifts. Because the idea is, like, if you keep busy for the next couple weeks, you're going going to end up having more solid footing under your feet than if you actually tried to like think about what that foundation is and build that foundation. It's almost like trust your hands to take you where you need to go, doing the work that you need to do, okay? Let's see. 4 of Worlds is saying... Four of Worlds, yes, is that foundation that's under your feet that actually appears when you're not trying to get stable. It's like allow the momentum to carry you forward, and that's the way you're going to find stability, okay? Great. Water children, even though we don't have any that I know of that are watching. So let's see, water children, how to best, maybe someone's watching this later. Water children, the way to do it is... Okay, well, it's a strong energy. It's the Tower. It's saying this is it. This is a moment of breakthrough for you, for us. The best way to harness this moment is to acknowledge it for what it is and ride it like a freaking rocket ship. Ride it to the moon. Take whatever's desirable about this moment, whatever you really like, and ride it, honey. Yes, throw a saddle on it and ride it. Oh, Dee Dee's watching it. Yay, Scorpio. Honey, 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 ride this moment. You gotta ride this moment. It's saying that if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like drowny, that's beyond itchiness. We were talking about itchiness with the air signs. It's like if you feel itchy, follow the itch and scratch it, because the itch is telling you what needs to be scratched because of all of this Pisces energy, so that you can then roll forward once Aries season hits in. With the water children, it's like it's all itchy. It's all very uncomfortable. It's all very mopey dopey. It's all very like, ugh. But also, there's so much magic that's been happening. So the idea here is just don't think about it too much and presume that whatever's going on needs like a shot of steroids, right? Whether it's birth, whether it's, growth, whether it's trimming away. We're approaching the equinox on Tuesday, which is the beginning of the astrological new year, right? It's the pagan rites of spring, first day of spring, new year, new you, all of that wonderfulness. That has the energy of the Tower. Tower is a little bit more destruction that brings creation, and yet that's what the whole mystery of spring is about, that we die and are reborn, or that the plants die and that they come back again next year. So that popping off energy of the Tower, of a rocket ship, is very much of this moment in terms of the spring. So hang in there until Pisces season, watery children. Don't become overwhelmed by it. Stick to, it's not even stick to your plans, but just trust that what you've already put into play is going to yield fruit, is going to yield dividends, is going to pay off in some way. And enjoy, right? Do that, right? Do that. And then what to expect. Okay, so this is really good. It's another major arcana card. It's the Wheel of Fortune reversed. It's so pretty in this deck. So special. This is the Voyager deck. I can't remember who does it, but this is the Voyager deck. So this says that what you can expect from this next cycle of 2 weeks is meant to be, right? It might not feel fated, it might not feel karmic, but it really is. It's just another turn of the screw, another turn of the wheel, destined. Old school, it implies like old school would imply like Wheel of Fortune reverse, like don't gamble, right? Don't spend too much money. But what I would say here is that if you're saving at this moment, keep saving. If you're investing at this moment, keep investing. If you're spending like a mad person, spend like a mad person. Because whatever's going on right now, you're supposed to just roll with that, run with that, work with that, okay? Now, new moon read for earth signs. I hope you're still there, earth signs. Lalita Live, I love you guys. Okay, earth signs. What is the best way for you to harness the power of this moment? 4 of Cups, anger. That's hot. Okay, so the idea here, it's more affirmation. What's bothering you is bothering you, right? What's pissing you off is pissing you off. What seems to be the truth about how you feel is the truth about how you feel. It's like trust your feelings right now. Trust your emotions right now. Trust the way you feel right now, and what to expect. As opposed to what we just said about the water signs, it's more like kapow. Trust what you feel so much right now that you ride it like a rocket ship. No. Anger is, powerful when channeled and, catastrophic sometimes when it explodes. So what you want to do here is just approach these feelings with respect, right? Like the way you would approach, let's say, an animal that gets trapped in your backyard, right? You don't come running at it with a freaking broom. You get close to it and you say, I see you, I feel you, I understand what's going on. Oh, wow, you're valid. Again, this is, the cups are associated with the sign of water, which is connected with the sign of Pisces, right? The element of water, which is connected with the sign of Pisces. So, if you're feeling angry or whatever you're feeling, it is a result of these waters of Pisces kind of rising up, but take heart. Once we get to Tuesday, that energy changes. There's a lot more fire in the skies, and you can get some momentum, some pep in your step, some momentum behind you. So for y'all, what to expect from it? Okay, so this is the Child of Cups, also known as the Feeler, and it's reversed here. So it's like the Page of Cups. So in a way, what it's saying is make peace with how you feel right now, because it's how you really feel. It may change eventually, but it's not changing right now. Child of Cups also has a kind of innocence about them. It is like the definition of not just wearing your heart on your sleeve, but like offering it up as a silver platter. And it's sort of saying here that no, the atmosphere is not going to shift for you super immediately. So might as well get acquainted with the terrain and with the smell and the feel and the look of the terrain, and like allow yourself to become acquainted with the terrain, because it's almost like you're driving through Kansas and, you can either zone out and not pay attention to the ride, or because it all looks so similar, or you can like take stock of it and get acquainted with it so that if there's a big blip or something really freaking cool happens, you notice it even more quickly. So it's like things aren't necessarily going to change in terms of how you're feeling at this moment. In terms of the content of what's making you feel this way at the moment. And it's not necessarily going to pass right away. You may have to stay acquainted with this, because you're going to have to work with this or against it in order to accomplish, whatever you're here to accomplish. I'm just curious as to what that is. Yeah, it really just feels like you're sort of trying to get a handle on life, trying to get a handle on your obligations, your duties, your responsibilities, and how you're sort of accomplishing those things. And so it implies that Pisces season is bringing you a lot of feelings about why you are where you are and how you got here and how much you would like it to change. But the idea is it's going to be a slow change, not a rapid change. So proceed respectfully with respect for yourself. Okay. Let's see. So that's that. Those are the readings for your elements. I had a bunch of other stuff planned, but the live stream threw me on here. Let's see. So what are we going to do now? We're going to... What's the other thing I had planned for you? The whole setup. Oh yes, we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde, which comes around on March 22nd to April 15th. It is in the sign of Aries. So what's really going to be cool is that all of this fakakta emotional intensity of the last month does sort of have a payoff. This new moon is the moment to mix it up and use some of the insight that we just gave you in order to kind of craft a plan of attack or a plan of approach, let's just say, so that once Aries season comes in, some momentum moves through you and moves you forward. And then that's an Aries season. And then just as soon as we get into Aries season, it becomes Mercury retrograde. So it's almost like be fearless, because once you get to Mercury retrograde, you're going to get a lot of retroaction and a chance to reconsider your fearlessness. So don't hesitate. Let yourself kind of dive headlong, first into the emotional healing of this moment, then into the forward motion of Aries season. And then you get to really use Mercury retrograde as a chance to review and be like, okay, cool. If this is the shit that I've healed, and this is who I am, and this is where my momentum is taking me, this forward motion is taking me, super groovy, I can think about that and talk about that and learn uncomfortable lessons about that as much as I want all through the next month, basically, of Mercury retrograde, Aries season, but then also Mercury retrograde, which takes up a big chunk of Aries season. Also, so y'all know, Jupiter is retrograde between March 9th and July 9th, and Jupiter is retrograde in Scorpio. So I think this is combining with the Sun, Moon, Chiron, Pisces to just be giving people just so much stuff about love, and relationships, and just self-love versus love of the other, versus old love versus new love, versus love from the past, versus how do I understand love, understand my own love, my self-love. I mean, I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I could talk about love all day long. But I think the important thing to remember here is that Jupiter, specifically in Scorpio, is helping us to review the ways, the sort of core causes of how we grow, why and how we grow, how we like to grow, how deeply we grow. Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio, it's like Jupiter entered Scorpio right around all the Weinstein crap, right? So all of that kicked off this wild moment. And now Jupiter's in retrograde, so it's giving us this chance to review this concept of growth, both inside of both deep growth in our own life, and also the growth that occurs in the deepest, darkest, most hidden places of our life. So I think this has a lot to do with love and relationships and the kind of core feelings and questions of birth and death and, worth. I meant to say worth, but I said birth, so I'm going to roll with that. Birth, death, worth, transformation, healing, shadow self, secrecy. A lot of times we learn about our shadow selves through another, right? Through our beloved, or through our friends, but not everyone has deeply passionate sex with their friends. So there's only a certain portion of your self which is immediately open to people. But once you start merging bodies and hearts and souls, it becomes a lot harder to sort of conceal or withhold that which in you, which is begging to come into the light. And so just remembering that Jupiter and Scorpio can sometimes teach us about things inside of ourselves that we don't really want to look at. But if we look at them, if we allow them to come into light, it sort of unleashes lots of energy, which teaches us about our own growth and about how we grow, right? Surest, easiest way to grow is to be willing to look at yourself and die, right? And be reborn. Look at yourself not like what you see, throw it out, start over, right? Great way to grow. But there's this just very groovy thing that I think is happening, which if Pisces is triggering all of this emotional content that's being stirred up into you, don't work with it. Don't allow yourself to become bogged down by it. Work with it. Go with what's making you itchy. Go with what's getting scratchy. Because by the time we pop into spring on Tuesday, rocket ship energy for everybody, that is a little bit hard to contain. And what's the point? Why would you want to contain the sprouting of a bud, the sprouting of a shoot, right? A seed. Why? Why would you want to do that? Unless you don't like growth, right? Then sure, then you try to put your foot on everything. But then Mercury retrograde drops in, carrying all of this Jupiter retrograde energy with it. And we get to really see the journey that we've just taken in the last like 5-6 days, and really the whole Pisces season that's kind of led up to it, and get to the bottom even between now and July 9th, because that's how long the Jupiter retrograde happens, to work out all of this stuff about our growth. Do you like how you're growing? Do you want to grow? Is this speed of growth comfortable? Is it uncomfortable? When I was a kid, 13, I actually had to have my heart defibrillated in a controlled setting, of course, because they believed that I grew too much. In the course of like 6 weeks, I grew like, you know, 1.5 inches or something ridiculous. And my heart couldn't keep up with the rest of my body, so I had to go to Boston Children's Hospital and get my heart defibrillated. And when I woke up, I was singing Midnight Train to Georgia. I remember that. That's what I was told. So I was fine. But in terms of this idea of Jupiter and Scorpio, you have a right to check in with and adjust your growth, to calibrate your growth, to control your growth, to I want to say this to people more than ever, maybe myself included. If you don't like what's going on in your life, if you're feeling anxious, right, do something about it. And there's all of these reasons that people believe that they shouldn't, you know, blow everything up and throw everything out and start over again. But I just really think that the security that comes from not changing was actually born in a world that moved at a much slower pace than this, and that a lot of promises were made in that world about, you know, what the family is for, and what the church is for, and what the government is for, and what money is for, and what business is for, just what all this stuff is for, which, how's that all working out for all of us, right? I keep feeling like all the promises have been broken, right? And that if you feel like something's wrong all the time, it's because it is. There's a lot of stuff that's wrong, right? But there's somehow this idea that, like, if I just do what's best, or do what I was told, or do what I was taught, or put my nose to the grindstone, or don't make any sudden moves, nobody breathes, nobody gets hurt, right? That everything will pay off in the end. Guess what? It won't. It will just make your hair fall out. It will give you ulcers. It will just make life shitty and not fun and not enjoyable. I hope this is connected, but I'm not stopping it. This brings me to my other statement that I want to make, that I also feel like we forget. In terms of what is the spiritual lifestyle that I'm supposed to be living, what am I supposed to be doing, what am I supposed to be eating, buying, not buying, you know, throwing away, not throwing away. It's like, if you can find a baseline of I'm okay, right, without hurting anybody, you win. You win the whole game. Even if you don't live, you know, like waste-free, right? Waste-free. I'm so interested in this concept of being waste-free, and I recognize that there's a valid assertion being made in this concept of waste-free living. And I also no longer subscribe to the idea that, oh, geez, you know, it's so impossible to get everybody to be waste-free, so why should we do it? My point here is just that it is pretty luxurious to be able to live waste-free, to have like cute snap top things and, you know, reusable everything, and to go to restaurants, not need plastic and not need, but let's be real, the reason why plastic and styrofoam and all this shit has evolved is because of socioeconomic stuff, right? Cheaper, bigger, faster, harder, cheaper, right? All of that. So here's my point, is that you gotta be really, at the end of the day, I think it does have a lot to do with money too. It's like the systems, the economic systems that need to be adjusted so that we could all live this ideal life. So my point is just be careful that you're not signaling, right, with the virtue signaling, right, with the lifestyle that you're living, the places that you're going to, the symposiums, you know, that you're visiting, the, you know, be careful that if you're doing it, it should be making you feel better, right? If it really works, it shouldn't be stressing you out, right? there are people who are made for these complicated and super intense lifestyles, even including a waste-free life, because it's their job to stay committed to this cause and move through their life facing agitation, and that's what you should spend your money on if that's how you're called to serve and participate. I'm just saying, be careful that you're not spending your money to make everybody else feel like you're living the best fucking life when really you're not actually happy, right? Or at peace, just stressed out about all of these other things that you now need to do in order to be good enough, right? Or woke enough, or spiritual enough, or... Now, that's not to say we just live in piles of trash. The whole point is secure your own mask before you go becoming a, manic, advocate for waste-free living, right? It's like, find balance within yourself and then summon the energy to change your life. Change it exactly as you wish to. Spend your money on whatever you damn well please without harming anyone. But then know that if that stops working for you, if you start getting fried and you start getting stressed, don't do more. Just chill for a second. Chill, check in, get present. See what your elements are doing. How is your earth? How is your air? How's your water? How's your fire? What's in balance? What's out of balance? Then adjust that. And then feed the children. No waste. Go on a mission. Build a house. Do whatever you want. It's just... I'm very passionate about this idea that if all you're doing is living your best spiritual life, you might be miserable and you might not be taking care of yourself. I see all of this work, and this is, I call this like the edible spirit continuum. I don't know, the edible spirit spectrum, right? Between self-care, self-love, and self-expression in the world. If you're doing nothing but taking care of the world and healing the world, and you don't make time to adore yourself or take care of yourself, you're going to crap out and there's going to be, nothing left. You become one of these virtue signalers that is living their best life at everybody else's expense. There's no absolute here. We're all kind of bowing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between doing the best we can and just trying to take care of ourselves, right? So that we can feel well enough to do the best we can, so that we can inspire others to become waste-free or to build a house or to serve in some way without making them feel bad about it, without being a dick about it, because everybody's okay. Everybody's doing the best they can. Everybody is trying to use this new moon, this sun and this moon, the yang and the yin inside of ourselves to heal just enough with all of the shit that's raining down upon ourselves so that we can maybe get to spring and actually feel like something's possible. Like it might be possible to accomplish something as opposed to constantly reacting to the deluge that's being cast upon us. Mercury retrograde then gives us this beautiful chance to rethink, reconsider the kind of trajectory of the next really 4 or 5 days that we're talking about. It's funny, in preparing for this, I thought about how potent these 5 days are, but this really feels like a slingshot moment. So we get to do our work over these next 5 days to really carry ourselves through the spring, right? In a delicious, delicious, delicious way, working out how we're growing. Growth in the most fundamental sense of the word. So I guess that's what I would ask you, and maybe we'll leave soon. But just to say, how are you growing, right? How is your growth? How do you feel about the state of your growth? Are you pleased with it? Is it too fast for you? That's why I told you the whole story about Gladys Knight and the Pips and my heart palpitations and getting defibrillated. I grew too fast, right? I didn't know. I was going through puberty, so there was no way that I could have controlled that growth. But that was just physical growth. There's many other kinds of growth: emotional growth, intellectual growth, spiritual growth, community growth, right? Relationship growth. So many different kinds of growth that we can actually check in with. But then there's this concept symbolized by Jupiter, growth, just plain growth. How are you doing with the state of your growth? How do you feel about it? Is it comfortable? Have you not been growing enough? Do you want to grow more? Do you want to grow less? Is it too intense? The idea here is that's symbolized in this new moon. Yin, yang, masked femme, sun, moon, right? Lean in, lean back. plus Chiron, potential for healing. With all of this stuff that seems to be rising up from the past, and from the path, giving us this season of Mercury retrograde between the 22nd and the 15th or 16th or whatever it is, to look at this sort of clip of the next 4 or 5 days and be like, cool, how did that go? And even the season of Pisces, how's it going? How's it growing? How's it growing? That's the summary. How's it growing? Hey guys, how's it growing? How's it growing? Right? Remember, you're the only one who really has authority in that, because that's you then setting an intention for how you'd like to grow. Faster, slower, harder, more, not so much, whatever it is. And brings me to the final point, which is spring is the season of growth, right? The season of cardinal growth, fire element, popping off. I think most of you guys know this, but I will just share it anyway, just so you remember. The cardinal signs are spaced equidistant through the zodiac because they are they represent the seasons, and each of the cardinal signs, there's 4 of them, is connected with an element, which is, what we base the elements of spirit on, earth, air, water, and fire. The whole astrological wheel, the zodiac, is ether. So earth, air, water, fire, ether, all of those together kind of make up the phenomenological experiences of this life on Earth. And every time the sun clicks into one of these elements, we get a new season. This could be cooler, but tick, 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 boom, dynamite. Boom, boom, dynamite. That's the spring, right? Is cardinal fire. Right, cardinal fire, sign of Aries, cardinal fire, initiatory, popping off of fire. So we get that energy, and we get to ride that energy for the next 3 months. Also want to say, I know I always tell you guys I'm not an astrologer, but just using basics of sun and moon and just honoring what each month feels like. Sun and moon are kind of like the most obvious elements of astrology, because we see the sun every day, we see the moon every day. We don't always see Venus unless we know to look for it. So these big that's why eclipses are so significant, new moons, full moons, and the season changes. I think that's just that's my bread and butter. And I appreciate all the other stuff that happens around it, but I don't know about you, but even when I hear myself talking about astrology, sometimes I get bored. I'm like, it's got to be simpler than this. It's just got to be. How much can I process? How much can I process at once? But sun I can process. New moon I can process. I don't see the moon. Must be a new moon. Oh, there's the moon. It's a full moon, right? So the idea is those observable phenomena, everybody knows when the season changes, no matter where you are in the world. I mean, we have an awareness of it because the light is different. So these bigger, broader phenomena are connected with the sun and the moon and those kind of bigger cycles. So been really vibing with that lately, and just vis-a-vis reminding you that that's what the spring is. That's what cardinal fire is. We get 3 months of mutually agreed upon cardinal fire, because the sun takes 3 months to move through the signs of the spring: Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So we got a minute to get used to that frequency of energy. And there's all sorts of other frequencies of energies that are hitting us at all times. And there's the physical body, which we see is right here. But then there's also the etheric body, right? Or the aura, which is sort of all of the energetic bodies: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever else, causal, Buddhic, Atmic, right? That is part of me. It's just I don't see it, with my physical eyes. But that's the body which is absorbing all of these many different external forces. And then there's also the energy body inside, all of our DNA, which has this magic going on inside of it, which is also stimulating us and asking us to respond in certain ways. So again, example of so much self-expression, so much spirituality. You can fry your brain by doing too much in these fields. So I like to try to break it down into manageable, EdibleSpirit, y'all. Breaking it down into manageable, functional, chewable, useful, digestible pieces of this magical universe. There's a really cool book by Michael Talbot, also called The Holographic Universe, which implies that if you take any one portion of this universe, it contains all of the whole rest of the universe. This is evidenced in the atoms, right? In the atoms of our cells. There's more space than not that's actually going on inside of them. And so that's what's so cool, is that even as we break down these pieces, these big chunks of spirit into bite-sized pieces, really truly understanding one piece of the whole can actually yield total understanding, if not the next best piece of understanding. So again, I don't know why. You know me by now enough to know that this is all moving through me. I have very little to do with starting or stopping it. Except I just tried to stop it. That it goes back to this idea of virtue signaling. I don't care how much you know, right? I only care about what's useful to me and my experience. You guys don't care how much I know, right? But you do care if I say something that pings, that hits you, that lights you up, and that moves you and changes you. Every single fucking thing I do is for that to occur, right? Yeah, I mean, even especially in Pisces season, I'm very hard on myself. I feel usually like I'm a terrible psychic, right? I don't like the word. I resent it all, you know? And yet, that's okay, because as long as you don't think I'm a terrible psychic, that's all that matters. No. Neither of us should call me a psychic. As long as you know what is significant, what does matter, what does hit you, the breadth and width of my knowledge only matters to me in as much as it's useful to you, in as much as it serves you. So just be brave, be bold, and wear the season like a loose, warm, red and orange garment. And hopefully some of this stream will prove useful to you. I'm so terribly sorry about not being able to get up the YouTube broadcast for those of you who were intending to tune in through there. I mean, you're probably not here. But I will work on that and attempt to have it fixed by Tuesday when we do our next live stream. The next live stream will be for an equinox meditation. It is going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, March 20th, probably 9 to 9:30 tops. I'm very simply going to be welcoming all of us into the spring using a ritual, which is up now on EdibleSpirit.com/blog. Thank you, sweetie. EdibleSpirit.com no, it's not /blog, it's /eat your spirit. Eat your spirit. That's the blog. So you can go to EdibleSpirit.com and click on the blog, and the first post that comes up will be the spring equinox ritual outline. You don't need a lot of stuff, but if you want to participate, we will do a witchy ritual together on Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. LA time, 12 noon East Coast, and it will give you, just a really nice, gentle, sweet way to welcome in the spring. And you need a few implements that represent the elements, pen and paper, so you can find all that stuff on the website, and you'll see me back here and either on Facebook or YouTube if I get it up for that live stream. And then on Sunday the 25th in LA, I will be doing Aura Picks. This is an Edible Spirit project that is a series of 5 to 10 minute aura portraits, digital aura portraits, where we get together, I give you a mini reading, I tune into your aura, I read it, I tell you what's there, and I draw a picture on your aura. And that's basically it. You get a reading. Oh, they're free. You get a reading. I get to post your picture on what's it called? On Instagram at AuraPix Project, or on EdibleSpirit.com/AuraPix. And Bob's your uncle. that's what you get for the Aurapix project. New York trip coming up in April 14th, 15th, somewhere thereabouts, 14th. And I'll be there for a couple weeks. So just setting that up. And I'm looking for places to do Aurapix there too. So if you have any insight into someone somewhere who'd like to host, I'd be down. I love you guys so much. How's it growing? How's it growing? It's the question of the day. How's it growing, y'all? We'll see how these... Oh, thank you all so much for the love. We'll see how this turns out, where I can get it up on Insta or... Well, it'll be on Instagram, but see if I can get it on Facebook and YouTube and whatnot, so you can follow along. Share, share, share. I love you so much, and I will see you on Tuesday, 9 a.m. Mwah! Ciao, 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 ciao! Happy new moon and happy almost spring.